Hey everybody, Adam Savage at Propstore with Brandon Alinger.
Hey Adam.
Dude, it's all Star Wars all the time with this upcoming auction.
We got some Star Wars, yeah.
So we have done a lot of coverage of original trilogy Star Wars props and props from the Star Wars universe, and we've covered a few from the last three sequels. But this is one of my favorite helmets.
I love this one also. Glad you like it.
I just
Great
love
design.
This thing.
Yeah.
This is from Force Awakens.
Yeah, this is Force Awakens. It's the Snowtrooper.
Dude, this feels so original trilogy to me in its design, in its simplicity, in the where complexity exists, and it just feels very much like it's right out of the first three movies.
And for me, I think the design of the sequels, it has that much more going for it because they were able to lean into the original films as opposed to the prequels where they really had a directive to go away from it. Right. And then the sequels, it was like, no, we're going to tie in closely. So I think they went through all the unused McQuarrie stuff, Johnston stuff, whatever.
This is a McQuarrie drawing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's a painting, one of the Hoth paintings, where you see these guys like, looking out, and you see this sort of shell-backed helmet in a very similar configuration.
May I lift it off its stand?
Yeah.
It looks very much like it is a cast resin without any paint on it. And I just wanted to, look at that. That's what it is.
Yes, slush cast.
Slush cast, and oh my God, this isn't slush cast. This is a two-part.
It's heavy, right?
That is a two-part mold of incredible complexity. Whoever built that was the best mold maker in that department.
Yeah. What is it? It's like a polyurethane plastic?
I think this is the same kind of resin as the slush pour, but put into a well-released fiberglass mother mold because.
So do you think this would be brittle?
Yeah, I think it could totally shatter. Because especially where you see, so one thing you might see in a prop, you might see what looks like fiberglass chop in resin. If you ever see that, know that it will shatter if you drop it.
Okay.
The fiberglass with urethane resin is not a pairing that like each other.
Interesting.
Not like fiberglass and epoxy resin.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Again, this also looks exactly like the original trilogy helmets in the simplicity of its interior.
Yeah, just some basic yellow foam in there. There's a number. We can see number 21. I don't know how many of these they made, but we can guess at least 21. I do know they did some stunt versions as well because I've seen one in the past that was rubber, or at least the back cowl part was rubber.
Oh, interesting.
But this, I guess, would be considered a hero or close-up version. Fully rigid, maintains its shape.
Is this the first one of these you've covered?
I think it is. I could be wrong. We might have had one other. Yeah, I've seen a couple other in collections.
What do we know about the provenance that we can talk about?
Yeah, it's just come out of a collection, and there are a few of these floating around. After the films came out, they did sell some for charity specifically. Lucasfilm did. I think there were also some that were gifted to crew members, and so we've seen a few of the standard First Order Trooper helmet that have come up, and I believe a couple of these Snowtroopers as well.
Amazing.
I have a sense that the color on it is darkening slightly, just because it's white, but it's still very presentable. And it's interesting. This one's got a little tiny air bubble flaw here right in the top, but it obviously, for camera, they're not going to see that. So it passed.
So if this was exposed to ultraviolet light, it would tend to get yellower over time. This urethane resin, it's one of my favorite materials to work with, but you definitely want to keep it out of the ultraviolet light. Okay, we've been hiding the speed. Moving on to, this is a Force Awakens lightsaber?
Yeah, which is really neat. I mean, this is definitely the first one of these that we've seen. The hero quality Force Awakens lightsaber.
May I pick it up?
Yeah, it should just pull out of that clamp.
Yeah, there we go.
And for me, what's noteworthy about this is, I remember when the film came out, looking at the books and the photos, publicity photos, and always seeing that the clamp on the Graflex is a different shine level to the body of the rest of it.
Yeah.
And my understanding is they went and found as many real Graflex as they can. So I do think the top and the bottom are most likely real Graflex parts, but I think they went and made this clamp, and I assume they did that because the real one would say Graflex on it.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get rid of that word, right?
Well, and I'm also curious, because over the past 20 years, the fandom has gone to incredible degrees of replication of the Graflex and its pieces.
Yeah.
Like many of its pieces have been replicated to a ludicrously high fidelity. And it occurs to me that Lucasfilm may have actually purchased some clamps from the fandom rather than manufacture them themselves.
So, but do you think when they make those replica Graflexes, they get the finish on the body as that sort of brushed finish as accurate as what we're seeing here?
I can't know. I feel like that's a genuine Graflex part. Prop masters are like,
you can also just see some age on it.
You really
it
can.
feels old.
I have a couple of original Graflexes, and this looks really authentic to me. But again, I've been fooled by fan remakes before. This beautiful little light, and this red bakelite button, one of my favorite parts of this.
Yeah. And you know, look, it's a pretty faithful copy of the Empire prop. So you've got the circuit board and the clamp there. The grips, which they obviously made, I think they're cast in like a hard plastic.
You got the T-track held on by little Allen screws.
And then the D-ring at the bottom, of course. You can see the original Graflex stamping on the underside.
That's on every lightsaber.
Yeah. But again, for me, like the signature tell of a Force Awakens prop is the sheen on this clamp. And if you go look now at reference photos, or even when you're watching the movie, I think you'll be able to pick that out pretty clearly. Yeah,
that warmth. I would be curious to hear in the comments whether that warmth is about the alloy. It's probably specifically about the alloy of the steel that this is, and it's different than this, right?
Yeah.
This is stamped in a 50s process, all sorts of different things going on. Dude, this is the first time you've covered a Force Awakens lightsaber.
Yeah, first time I've seen one. Yeah, it's lovely piece.
It really is.
If there's one thing you can't go wrong with in the world of Star Wars props, it's a lightsaber.
Dude.
Any lightsaber is great.
I will admit to you that twice in my life, I've been in a camera store looking at a bucket full of camera parts, and at the bottom the first time I found the top half of a Graflex, clamp and everything up.
Okay.
And the second time was at a that was in like the late 80s. The second time was at a flea market
late 80s. So you knew what the Graflex was in the late 80s?
Yeah, my friend Davey knew.
Pre-internet.
Pre-internet, he knew that it was a camera flash handle.
Yeah.
I don't know how Davey knew it, but Davey's like, his high school bedroom was called DLM, Davey's Light and Magic. Like that's how obsessed he was.
Okay, yeah.
And then somewhere in, I think, the early aughts, I was at, I think, the Alameda flea market. And there was a bunch of camera parts, and I found a Graflex saber. And the guy, as he sold it to me for like, I don't know, whatever he sold it to me for, it's like, it's probably worth more.
Yeah, because at some point, all the photo guys became aware that the Star Wars nuts, like us,
they're
are
not
out there
pleased
looking for
about
these
that.
things, right?
No.
But probably in the 80s, nobody was.
You know, it's funny, there's a turntable from the 70s with all these custom knobs. It was a very expensive collector's turntable that ends up supplying huge amounts of parts to the Star Wars universe. And that's another getting rarer by the day
hard to
piece
find.
of ephemera.
Yeah. I wonder how many Graflexes still exist in circulation. Or someone must know this. Or how many Graflexes were made in the first place.
This is why I love The Good Place, because I want Janet to tell me, Janet, how many Graflex sabers are there left in the world? She'd be like, there's 379. One of them is in Thailand. You know, just like tell me some weird facts about it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Dude, the auction is upcoming, and there's more Star Wars goodness. We've shot some other videos, but the auction's coming up soon.
Yeah, March 25th to 27th. There's pieces from the sequels, there's pieces from the original trilogy, there's pieces from the prequels. A lot of Star Wars content in total. We all love Star Wars. We try to get the good stuff we can. Even some really interesting paperwork and photograph lots. So
neat.
Take a look at the catalog. It is online now.
So it's spread spectrum with some affordable stuff as well as some rare as hen's teeth
That's
stuff.
right. That's right. Yes.
Brandon, thank you so much.
Good to see you.
We'll include all those relevant links in the description. See you guys next time. When I was a young model maker, I was always freelance. And when you're freelance, one of the best ways to get work is to draw attention to yourself, both for what you can do and also how you do it. And one of the ways I drew attention to myself was with my toolboxes. They were moderately absurd. Aluminum doctor's bags sitting on scissor lifts so I could rise them up to the level of my workbench and give me access to every tool I needed, hundreds and hundreds of them. This is a poster I drew a bunch of years ago of these toolboxes, and it includes a list of every last thing that was in here, numbering thousands and thousands of dollars. For the first time ever, we're making these available to you, signed. And you can get yours over at adamsavage.com. See you guys there.